Hello there and welcome to the channel. My name is Charlie, or Pickles as you may know me as. I'm bringing you today how I would structure my entire day as a professional gamer. So just to preface the video, I was a professional gamer a few years ago. I was playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive professionally, and during that time I did not take it very seriously. I had the talent, but I did not structure my days properly, did not take care of my health, my mental health or anything. So here I am today, in all my glory, to tell you how I would structure my day nowadays if I could go back in time and be a professional again, in order to make sure my mental health is good and also my performance is as good as they possibly could be. So the first thing I'll do when I wake up is hydrate, number one. I will make some water the night before, or I'll do it as soon as I wake up, go grab some water and drink a litre of water. This doesn't have to be just water, it can be cordial, it can be a little bit of juice. But make sure you're getting that 1 litre of water in as soon as you wake up, just because you've gone 8 hours or however long you've been without any sleep, and then you can't just jump into the day still dehydrated, right? Most of the body functions on being hydrated. The brain, if we're dehydrated, the brain cells shrink in size, and we're going to get brain fog, we're not going to feel good. If we're going to go do some exercise, we're not going to feel good. We're going to be hungry because we're dehydrated. So all these things are going to be taken care of just by waking up, drinking your water, and then proceeding with the day. Now, the next thing I would do after I've hydrated is get on some clothes, go out for a walk. Now, you might not live in a country that has sunlight all the time, or you might be getting up too early, but just getting outside, getting in nature if possible, getting some steps in. This is really going to kickstart the body, get your heart rate going. If you've got a busy day ahead, you can, think about how you're going to structure it, what you're going to do. You can listen to a podcast if you want. Personally, when I'm going on walks, because I'll do a couple a day, the first one I always try and prioritize sort of not really using my phone, not really checking work unless you need to. Spending time in nature with your own thoughts, collecting your own thoughts. Try not to let the outside world influence too many of your morning thoughts, right? Spend that time with yourself to plan the day ahead, think about what you're going to do. And as I said, it's just going to kickstart your body, it's going to get your heart rate going, and you're going to feel more alert for the day ahead. And if you're getting sleep, if you're getting sun, so going out, getting sunlight in the eyes as early as possible, even through clouds, spend some more time doing it. But this is going to help your circadian rhythm, it's going to help when it comes to sleeping at night, because your body knows when you go up, when you saw sunlight, and it's going to start to put you to sleep at a natural time. And overall, your circadian rhythm is going to improve and you're going to sleep better. And good quality sleep is sort of the pinnacle of all health, really. Now, the next thing I would do, and this shouldn't need to be said, but a lot of people neglect it, and so did I. Many days I would just wake up, roll from my bed into my gaming chair, sit down, hop on a couple of minutes before prac starts, and go, feeling greasy and groggy and like shit. So I've woken up, I've hydrated, I've gone for a walk, maybe built up a bit of a sweat, and now I'm going to shower. This shouldn't need to be said, but showering, sorting yourself out, you're going to feel alert, you're going to feel clean, you're going to feel ready. It's like, when you get a new haircut and you go out and you feel confident, getting a shower, getting yourself sorted, ready for the day is going to make you feel 10 times better than just rolling out of bed and jumping onto your computer, I promise you. Fourth on the list, after we've showered, obviously we need to eat. Now, there's a few ways to think about this. You can eat or you can't eat. It really depends on how you structure your day and how you operate as a person. So this takes some time to get used to. Our brains evolved during the time when we were hunter-gatherers, and being hungry was actually a good thing because you were more focused, because you had to go and find food. Nowadays, we don't have that issue. So some people, they fast and they feel more alert, they feel better. So say, for example, you have a break at lunchtime, maybe you want to just fast until then. Or, maybe that makes you feel better. But if you do want to eat, I would say prioritize protein and prioritize some fats. You can have carbs, but if you go through your prac day, usually, and you're craving food, craving sweets, and you're snacking away all the time, having something high in protein, high in fat is going to keep you full for the rest of the day, so that you're not going to be reaching for potentially shitty sweets and, things that are going to make you feel worse overall. So definitely prioritize some high protein foods, bacon, eggs, some kind of meat, some kind of dairy, something that you digest well. You don't want to be nipping to the toilet every 2 seconds, you don't want to have stomachache, so find things that digest well for you, but prioritizing protein is good, rather than something like cereal that's just going to spike your blood sugar and then have you craving more throughout the day, right? If you do want to eat something like worse, like cereal, for example, pair it with a protein shake, pair it with some fruit. Find foods that is rich in micronutrients that make you feel good, help with brain health, everything. So now you have walked, hydrated, ate breakfast, showered, all ready for the day. Now, I don't know how your practice day looks. You might need to spend some time beforehand cultivating some strats, thinking about the day ahead. That's something you'd have to think about. But the next thing I would say is definitely during practice to take time after each map, after each series, or at intervals where it makes sense, right? I spent hours playing and didn't ever take time to move around. And it's like you'd play a map or two, maybe you lost maps. I mean, you shouldn't care about losing in scrims, but maybe you were losing, maybe you were playing shit, and you just said, I'm just going to jump into a death match, I'm just going to, continue playing all day without taking any breaks. I would advise every map or every series of scrims or whatever, however you structure your day, to take a break. Go for a walk, have a glass of water, go for a walk to refill it, maybe get some fresh air, stick your head out the window, get downstairs if you can, or outside if you can. Again, you've got to get your body moving, you're going to get some fresh air, and it's really going to help your mental clarity. You have to think about why you're practicing in the first time, right? It's not so you can top the leaderboards and for your ego to be inflated. It's so that you can prepare for when a real match comes around. That's the entire point of practices and scrims. So if you can absolutely nail your mental clarity and your mental well-being during practice, this is going to be key and testament to when it comes to playing a professional game, because then if you have a poor performance in game, in a real match, you can just take 5 minutes, go do a little ritual, grab some water, get some fresh air, and you're back in it. Rather than just grinding through more games, more shooting, more deathmatch, all this stuff. So yeah, definitely learn to take breaks, get the body moving, get the mind sorted, and this should definitely help going into the next match. So that's kind of the structure. I now have some tips just following on from that where you can put them in, and then we have a little bit more of the end of practice at the end of the day. But during practice, I would say to definitely limit caffeine intake. If you have exercise nailed, diet, sleep, all those other factors and all those other variables nailed, you shouldn't need to be relying on caffeine, especially just sat at the desk. Caffeine does have mental and cognitive performances and increased in performances. So I'm definitely not saying to not drink it, but I'm just saying don't rely on it and don't absolutely overdo it thinking that it's going to be the catalyst to a good performance, because it's just going to make you jittery and nervous and anxious. And maybe when it comes to an agreement or disagreement within the team, you're going to lash out because you're jittery and you're just all over the place. If you have a steady stream of water and you stay hydrated, yes, you can have a couple of cans of some kind of energy drink, but don't just wake up and just energy drink all day. And the same applies for prioritizing sleep. If you are trying to get into a good schedule, then definitely prioritize and think about cutting off the caffeine intake after a certain point. Generally, caffeine has a half-life of 10 hours. That means after 10 hours of drinking that caffeine, half of that is still circulating your body. So if you went to sleep at 10 p.m, for example, and I know you're on gamer hours, so you probably don't, but you'd stop at intake around 12, midday, and you'd probably be all right. It's not affecting your sleep too much, but just be aware of that. You shouldn't need a lot of caffeine, and you shouldn't be relying on it for performance, because if it does come to a match again and you don't have any caffeine, it's just another mental thing where you're like, oh shit, I really need that caffeine, or now you're anxious you don't have caffeine. So definitely just think about it, and if you do want that fizz, you do want that carbonation, there are drinks like Pepsi Max, no caffeine, Diet Coke, no caffeine. So implement them into your diet instead of just absolutely nailing loads of caffeine. Now, another one is exercise. I was obese and overweight, and a lot of my mentality followed that same trend, didn't really look after myself. And as soon as you start going to the gym, you learn mental resilience. You learn what it's like to actually earn something in terms of a physique, in terms of a better mentality. And the health and mental benefits from working out, I don't think anyone can argue. You feel on top of the world, you feel more confident. If you start to look better, feel better, you feel better in game. It's like a little anecdote of when I used to play, and people said like, oh, I've just got a fresh haircut, I'm about to play an official, I feel confident, I feel good, and then they go in there and top frag. It's the same thing as having a great physique or just feeling healthy all the time. You feel on top of the world and you're going to go into every practice with a good state of mind. You're going to go into every official with a good state of mind. You're going to feel confident. And it really is just a staple foundation that you shouldn't neglect no matter what walk of life you're in. And I'm not saying that you need to go out and do 7 days a week exercise on top of the walk, on top of all this other stuff. 3 or 4 days a week, 2 days a week is fine. It doesn't have to be the gym. Maybe you want to do a combat sport. Maybe you want to do CrossFit or yoga or Pilates or hiking. All this stuff is exercise and it's all going to make you feel better. Next up is diet. Now, I keep looking over there when the camera's down here. So weird. So diet is obviously a big thing when it comes to gaming and anything. Deliveroo is a gamer's best friend, and we all love ordering some food, but you just have to be aware of how taxing that is on the body. If you're just constantly eating fried food, cooked in oil, super high fat, there's nothing wrong with fat, but super high calorie dense, just foods that don't make you feel good, just empty calories that, you're hungry again in an hour. Try to find foods that fit within your diet, and losing weight and gaining weight is a whole different thing, but foods that are rich in micronutrients, that's going to be good for brain health, cognitive function, just your overall mood and how your body functions. If you have to prep food before your day starts, then do it. Make some food on the morning or make some food the night before and then eat it throughout the day, but try not to snack on shit that's going to spike your blood sugars and make you feel come crashing down. Again, it's trial and error, because you know what you like to eat. And I know what I like to eat. I don't like veg. Sometimes I'll eat it because it makes me feel good. I don't like all fruits. I found the ones that I do like and I eat them. So it takes trial and error, but at the end of the day, your body is an engine, a robot, a machine, however you want to say it, and you have to give it the right fuel. If you don't, you're going to feel sluggish, you're going to feel like shit. And then when it comes to prac ending and the day's ending, obviously you're probably going to have some kind of team ritual when it comes to reflecting on the day. If you don't, then definitely try and implement that. Obviously some teams finish their last prac and they just hop off and go play something else. But mindfulness and the ability to reflect on the day, like I said earlier, practice is meant to be a time to learn what is good for your team and also prepare for real life matches. You're not going into scrims with the aim to win or top frag or have your ego inflated. You're there to practice things that have happened within the team, go over fundamentals, go over different tendencies, go over different fallbacks. If this happens, what happens, working on your social cues, operating within a team. All this stuff is super important. So I think at the end of the day, it's very good to reflect and be mindful of what happened. Did you set out to achieve what you wanted to achieve today? Did you or the team improve on what you said you were going to improve on? Were you respectful to your team? It's not just about getting better in terms of your strats and that sort of stuff. It's also about being respectful. Did my teammate need help with something that I could help with? Did we improve on that? Did you show up to the best of your ability? Because at the end of the day, if this is what you want and you want to become a successful professional, you have to show up to the best of your ability every day. What did you learn today? So I'm not one of these journal hippies. I did buy one and I struggled to do it, but it is so important to be mindful and reflect and actually ask yourself, why am I sat here 10 hours a day? What's the goal? And did I work towards it? And then my last sort of tip would just be downtime. Now, this can be another walk, this can be playing different games with your friends. The biggest key and biggest question I would always ask myself, and what you should ask yourself is what I'm doing aligning with my goals? So what I mean by that is, let's say in this example you finish team practice at 7 p.m, you practiced all day, and you want to start waking up early so you can spend some time in the morning doing all this or going to the gym or whatever. Is playing the game that you play into the night, playing ranked until 4 a.m, aligning with your goals? You might say that you're playing the game that you play professionally, so it is, but is it really? Because then if you turn up the next day tired or unprepared and it affects the day of practice, then it's not really aligning with your goals of being a professional. So I would say pick downtime carefully. It's good to be social, play other games, go for a walk, do some exercise, watch some TV. Continue to play the game that you want to play if you do thoroughly enjoy it, or you want to spend some more time improving your craft. But always ask yourself, is what I'm doing aligning with my goals? And there are going to be times when it isn't, and that's fine. But if it's consistently not aligning with your goals, and the things you're doing outside of practice are going to impact the things you do during the practice window in a negative light, then don't do them or try to limit them. So yeah, that was sort of how I would structure my day. Obviously, it's always going to be person dependent, team dependent on what you want to do and how you want to spend your time and what your practice regimen is like and all that good stuff. But I hope that was somewhat influential, wrong word. I hope that helps. The word is escaping me right now. I'm very articulate today. First sort of video doing this, so I hope it helps. Let me know if I've missed anything. Give the schedule a go, and yeah, keep me updated. Peace.